Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and before I do start, I do have a few things to say. Now, I have the weekends back and my days off back. So, today I watched the next episode of the Fallout TV show, episode 7, and I found out what Vault 4's experiment was. Now, they had an experiment that was very close to mine, and I was very surprised, because I thought my experiment I came up with on my own and it was original. However, I was wondering why they never thought of turning it into a vault idea. In Vault 4 isn't exactly the same, but they're close. And I was annoyed, but then I realized. Now, a version of my idea is canon in the Fallout universe. It's not the exact same, but the premise of it is very similar. So, I want to be mad and annoyed that I mean, I had this idea before the TV show came out, and then it turned into a canon thing. So I just don't know. I have conflicted feelings about that, because I know a friend of mine has heard me ramble on about this before. Anyways, now, with that being said, let me go into the review. In the last part, we had Izuku Midoriya at the age of 17. He was a young vault dweller who has gotten into quite a bit of trouble. His fair share. Growing up, his life was not easy. Everyone inside of his vault were descendants of members from the U.S. military, and Izuku was no exception. His ancestor was a Marine, and it certainly meant quite a bit. He was trained and born with the lifestyle of a soldier. He learned history from Vault Tech, learned how the world was before, and at the age of 17, he put himself forward for selection, going to the surface world and trying to make a colony for the residents to go to. They go to the surface world and then they send a communication back when they can make a base, when they know exactly what type of danger the wasteland does have. Don't risk the entire vault on trying to do this. A group of 6 members were sent out. Deku was among them. He said his goodbyes. However, their group was ambushed by a mysterious force. Though Izuku, before this did happen, found out they were still underground. And with that being said, this means quite a lot. There is something wrong here. And the scientist, after they were all captured, talked about the experiment. They were going to be exposed to the forced evolutionary virus because they are special. And they want to know exactly what will happen to the Vault Dwellers, who have been modified. Now, we do currently pick up with Deku. Deku, he currently does sit inside of a cell somewhere underground. And it's interesting. He's smelt the fresh air, and it smells like shit. This is the world above. He doesn't know how long it's been. The days blend together, the lights are all the same, and they feed them things. The doctors do experiments. Then on Deku's mind, currently him climbing out of bed and thinking about it. He remembers whenever he woke up, he discovered that his suit was torn. He had strange bumps forming in his head. His teeth look a little different. And then there's the fact that his eyes, they show the biggest change. They exposed him to something. His limbs felt stranger too. He didn't know how to put it. He just felt a lot of pain, and it wouldn't go away. At one point it did. Or maybe he just got used to it. The experiments seem to always keep going on. He's not alone anymore, but looking at the person across from him in the cell, it's not easy. Deku currently staring at Tommy. And Tommy, he's somebody from Deku's team. He does sit there, currently him in the middle of his cell and looking around, bringing his hand up to his face, trying to figure out what to do. Him scratching his neck as the explosive color around it does go to somewhat beep. Him pulling his hand away and trying to wait for the color does it to stop. And Deku, he's pissed. There has to be a way out of here. There has to be something to do. Though Tommy, here's a turn, looking at something that does go to crawl on the ground of his cell. Him bringing his hands up and lunging at it. As the strange appendage on his head, it does go to shoot something directly down and onto the creature. Deku staring at that and watching his friend begin to devour something. However, he doesn't hear it fizzle out of life first, and that it does slightly concern him. Deku turning his head and walking right to the bars, not touching them. The last time he made that mistake, it was not good. And he does turn, trying to listen, before he does go to stare down the hall at another cell. Him staring at them before he does a whistle. The person looking up as they just sit on their bed, which does have it, well, welded onto the wall, along with anchor to it, expressing, do they have a plan? You keep asking that. We've tried everything before. Nothing works. I still think we have an idea. Deku turning, as he has a stare directly at Chelsea, who herself has gone through her own mutations. Talking about it. They know that some of the other dwellers are still down here, right? Maybe there's a way to get out of here. Not likely. I mean, maybe, but your collar? I know. They can't see me whenever I do that thing, but if I can get it off, it can work. I need something, though. Sharp. Very sharp. Right. Though, I can certainly do a lot of things. They didn't like what I did to the bars last time. You still talk? Deku going to sit down on his bed, thinking about a few things, leaning up against the wall. Before he does go to tell John. Yeah, he's still talking. So, is there anything on his mind, big guy? Me have many things on mind. Though why you still try? We're supposed to, army man. Army better. Sure it is, big guy. As far as I can tell, we're all still trapped in a cell. So I don't think anyone's better right now. Still gotta work together and figure this shit out. Alright? So how about you, cut that out for right now? Then we can compete, alright? Sounds right. Maybe. Things just feel cloudy still. Experiments not fun. No, they are not. Connor? Connor? Connor, I can hear your heartbeat. Why are you not talking? I'm just trying to sleep. Come on. Get your head out of your ass. We've got a plan. We've been here for God knows how long, and we're still not out. I don't think we can get out. Honestly, I don't know. Is it even possible? Can we get out? Maybe not. Maybe we could. Though that's another thing. You just want to die in there? Never said that. Just saying, we needed a better plan than just attacking the guards and getting our heads blown off. Besides, they show off the tape. Isn't that what happened to that one guy? I don't know his name. What was it? Mr. No, no, fuck. I don't think I've seen that guy before. His name's familiar though. Uh, Myers. Hmm? John Myers, Chelsea's uncle. Remember hearing about him. One of parents. Somebody close. Close, yes, close, close, close. John, you still there, buddy? I doubt that. This guy gets bigger every day. Besides, he's whatever the fuck he is. Marcy, are you done? A little bit. Though if I talk too loud, they shock me. Right, that's why you gotta whisper. I know. I just still hungry. Right. I guess it's another thing. I have an idea for a plan, though we have to time it well. Do it right. Him standing up, walking to the other side, and leaning on the wall. Before he does, go turn and look to see Marcy, who does sit there, a little bit in the dark. Currently, her, with her body leaning against the wall. Her sharpened hands, right now, wrapped around her body, as she does have something strange poking from above, flying up above her hair. And this does mean quite a bit of things. Deku walking over and looking at himself in the mirror, seeing exactly how far these mutations have pushed his body. He's got horns poking out of the side of his head. I mean, not large, but definitely noticeable. Huh. They can probably break these things off, right? Deku grabbing onto them, and seeing his sharpened nails, which have gotten a little bit larger. Okay, okay. Break them off. Do something with them. Maybe. No, no. May not work. It definitely might not. They'll just fucking grow back. Oh. Grow back. There's an idea. Deku turning. And right now, he is bringing his hand up to his explosive collar and think. Right now, him scratching his neck with one of his claws. As right now it does begin to beep, and Deku does hear that sound. Currently, him going to turn and directly rush into the metal bars. Him smashing into them as the room, it does begin to feel, well, the shake. Deku also being electrocuted by the bars as he does step backwards. Currently, him smashing his body forwards into them again and roaring out. The person on the camera turning their head and staring at it. Currently watching that Deku, he is having another little outburst of his. And that it does mean quite a lot. They've planned a lot of things. They've tried many things. Though this, at this point, is just dying embers of resistance. Hell, they've been calm for about a week. The last test was a few days ago? Maybe. Though perhaps they need to do a bit more on this kid. At least break him. Hell, they've seen wastelanders break from less. Okay, maybe it's about time. Then I'm turning, pressing a button, and calling for one of the doctors, since they might be able to get their test after all, especially on this one. They're not too sure what makes them special, but hey, whatever keeps their pockets full of caps and allows them to head off to Vegas in their free time. They don't give a fuck. Why should they? Currently, the doctor going to be alerted and getting their things properly sorted out. As Deku, he does have his collar begin to beep where a man does come walking up. It informing him. The man right now with his finger on a switch, talking about it. Now, if he will be calm and comply, they can get the test done. Afterwards, he can be brought back and given some food. Does that sound applicable? Specimen 3? Specimen 3, I do need a response. Fuck you. Wonderful. Them going to open the door. Currently Deku standing up as the person, they just step backwards. A man going to step in front of the doctor and hold up a gun. Express to Izuku. You know, he might really want to actually respond. Don't want the doctor to blow off his head. Last person who was like him, they definitely didn't make it. They were tough, yeah. But compared to the brute in the next cell, their head came flying off. They've seen the footage. In fact, they're pretty sure they didn't scribble the brains out of this cell. Look at the ceiling. Maybe there might be some bones stuck in the wall, too. No, that's just speculation. Deku, hearing that, and being a bit more annoyed. Right now, him being taken out of the room as to turn looking at Tommy in the cell. As right now, one of his mutated ears, due to his own turn, registering the noise. Right now, Deku being walked directly down the corridor and into a room. Since the scientist, they do want to know a little bit more about Deku and his, let's just say, DNA. Right now, him being strapped to a table and blood being taken from him, along with the doctor checking his sample of the FEV strain and comparing it to a few other things. Deku sitting on the table as the blood is being drawn. Right now, him thinking about what to do. And two of the guards, they do stand there. Deku hearing the taunting jingle of those keys. The guard shifting around and moving. Him currently talking about it. You know, there's still a lot that can happen. I mean, he's just kind of concerned. What? That one girl, the Gamora? I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure she might like me. No, I just think you're fucking delusional, man. Besides, get a few drinks in you, your lips get hella loose. I know, that's why I don't try to go overboard. Hey, who's saying, though, she doesn't? And who's saying that she's not just trying to butter you up so you slip her some extra caps? I don't think so. I like to think I'm charming. Them turning to Deku, who does gonna turn his head and express, right on his face with a big smile plastered on it. He's pretty sure he's a fucking idiot. Please, kid. Him turning, talking about how he's probably never been to Gamora. Can't blame him. Though, how's life down in that vault of his? How was it? Was it better? Or was it just shit? I mean, they know that the experiment probably put them through some shit, though, right? I mean, how was that information processing? I don't know. What's it like to be the son of a whore? The man staring at Deku. Him stepping forwards and pulling his pistol. Currently, him talking about it. He really shouldn't talk like that. The other man and the scientist turning and stepping forwards. Currently, him bringing the gun up as Deku does not react. Currently, him talking about it. He's just saying, he's the son of a whore, ain't he? I mean, it's a psychological thing, right? People tend to like people like their, what, girls like their moms? He's heard of it before. I mean, he likes whores, right? So that must be what his mom was like? And the man, he does go a step forwards, bringing the gun up and going to get closer to Izuku. The scientist typing away at the computer as the man, he does go express. He really shouldn't. And Deku, he does go to throw his hand out. Currently the chain going to be pulled taut as Deku pulls the man by his belt in closer. Him going to bite Doki on to the side of the man's face. Currently him latching on to a part of his face and ear. And the man, he has been a scream. As Deku, he does begin to do one thing. Right now, him holding on as the man is to bring up the weapon, trying to fire it at Deku as he does, going to drop it and try and grab Deku and punch him in the face. Right now, him aiming for the nose and trying to grab what he can. And the scientists, they do to turn and see this. Right now, them turning and rushing to grab something to sedate him. The other person running over and trying to help. However, Deku is firmly latched on. He's got his own pound of flesh. And right now, Deku, he's making this look like a hell of a show. Currently, him throwing the man Droki over the table and sending him flying. Smashing some equipment as the other man, he has a turn and bring up his weapon. Pointing it Droki at Deku's head. And Deku, he has a turn with his man's pound of flesh still in his mouth. Him going to spit it out and then give the man a toothy smile. Him staring at the sharpened teeth of this creature. The guy turning and trying to get back up. Right now, him feeling the ringing in his ear before he does get to feel his body shaking and a massive amount of blood pouring down the side of his head. Though Deku, he got what he wanted. He definitely got something. And currently the scientist does a run over and smash down something Doki into Deku's thickened skin. Him turning to the scientist and trying to lunge out. However, he does beautifully lose the fight to this man. Currently, him going to lay back down on the table. And the scientist, they do going to turn in order the security guard to take the man away and to not bring him back. Right now, they want him to be contained in the medical bay and be quarantined in case any sign this sample has jumped to another host. Deku does lay back. The scientist still monitoring a few things. Okay. So the sample has taken well to his DNA, though they're getting some sort of reaction. They've only had two other subjects like him before. The last one died too soon before a mutation occurred. And the first one, I mean, they've got past the initial injection phase, but they died shortly afterwards. So, this is the farthest they've gotten with sample 3. Subject 3. Okay. But will there be a mutation this time? Possibly. Though, maybe they should have tweaked the thing a little bit. No, this has been perfect. I mean, their predecessor before them has spent years, decades engineering this. They've already tweaked it and said the designs and schematics were perfect. It should do what they need. Then they could. Well, that's another story. This is on the doctor's mind. And there is later, where people, they do come by and grab Deku. Right now, them going to drag him back to his cell as he is thrown inside is a smash onto the ground. Currently, someone going to turn and ask him if he's alright, since he is covered in some blood. Fine. I'm fine. Just, Got that one bastard pretty good. Still tastes his blood in my mouth. Though, let's just say I got something. Hmm? What do you mean? Deku going to turn and look up at the camera. Currently, him going to turn and jump up before smashing the camera and talking about it. They need to break the cameras. If they all do want to at least talk a bit more, just whisper. They still might pick it up. Can't take the chance. Everyone looking at their cameras. And right now, there is where Connor, he does go to get up and turn. Currently him walking over and bringing his hand out, asking exactly what did Deku do. You know, he won't exactly put much faith in him at this point. Well, other than ripping the guy's fucking ear off, I'd say I got something pretty good. Deku bringing up his hand, and right now he does begin to slice into a part of his neck. Right now, him doing so very slightly and away from his esophagus. Right now, cutting into the side. And this, it does mean quite a lot. Currently, him going to bring up his hand and go to do one thing. Right now, someone hearing a sound as Deku, he does go to fall forwards onto the ground. And the people that are currently watching the monitors, they just stare at one thing. They do get to look down. Seeing that Deku's collar, it does have a flat line. And this, it does concern them for a second. Staring at it confused. Before they do go to jump up. Right now them seeing another collar flat line. And this, it does alarm them. Them turning and yelling at a security code as someone they do go to get up. And another person, they do hear a third flat line. Right now them rushing into the room as they do see Deku. Right now the 7-foot tall creature laying on the ground. Them in a pool of blood. Turning and seeing the bug man. Them doing the exact same thing. And then seeing the girl that's got that fucking, well, she's got those wings and shit. She's flatlined too, shit. Them turning and seeing the large super mutant. Right now it leaning against the wall. And its head, it is smashed into the mirror. And their collar is still on their neck. Okay. They gotta work fast. The one that's lost the most blood is the Deathclaw one. They're the most vital to research. Them turning and going to turn off the power to the system. Before they do, gonna run over and unlock the door. Right now them turning and yelling out something to other people, who they do begin to try and help out. Though there currently is Marcy, who the moment someone does gonna open her cell door, she doesn't look up. Right now her going to let out a massive scream that is gonna echo throughout the hallway. And the man who does stand in front of Deku, they do go to turn their head confused. Right now the entire underground facility having alarms blare as someone there's it flying through the air and smashing into the cell wall. Right now them having blood beginning to pour from their eyes as the brain in their skull was heavily rattled by the concussive burst from the girl. And Deku, he does begin to bring his hands down. Right now him going to get upwards and begin to move, his collar laying on the ground in front of him. As the man is to turn back and go face to face with Deku, who does go throw up his hands as the man does try to grab his weapon. Deku grabbing him directly by the chest and going to shove him out directly into the corridor, him smashing out into the hallway. Before Deku, he has to climb to his feet and rush forwards, him going to smash man directly into the cell bars and directly into the cell Tommy is in. And the man doesn't feel parts of his back break immediately, along with him almost being put through a strainer. Now, this does mean quite a bit. Deku turning as somebody they do hold up a weapon. them firing at Deku and hitting him in the chest. Deku staying there before he does gotta look down and see the bullet currently stuck in his leather-like skin. And the man, he does a reload, firing another shot at Deku, who does still stand there. Before someone then to bring their hand up and grab the man by the gun, them holding onto it as they try to fight the person. A person stepping in and turning. Before they do, could take up the plasma rifle and blast Connor while he's still inside his cell. And Connor is then flying backwards and smashing into the wall. Deku rushing forwards to the person, they go to turn back to the Deathclaw. And Deku, he has to start rushing in and slashing with his claws. Him slicing apart some security as there is everyone else, who they do begin to work on trying to get out. Trying to make sure they can get everybody out of here alive. And there is currently Deku, who, whenever he does go to rip through the last security guard in the area, he does a turn, looking around and trying to gain a bearing on his senses. But something feels off. Right now, him feeling his mind leave him for a second. The bloodshed, the violence, it was all he thought about. And Deku, while his claws are still dripping, he is gonna bend down. Right now, him grabbing a weapon and staring at it. Before he does go to turn, expressing to somebody about what they really should be doing. Before turning and looking at Connor, who does sit there in his cell. The massive wound in his body that took his life. And this, it does annoy him. Deku, looking at the man, the guy he considered to be a friend. Him gonna turn, opening the door and walking inside, bending down and seeing his friend who has passed. He's gone. No pulse, and he's gone. Deku bring his hand up. Before he has to close his friend's eyes and go to turn, expressing to everyone else. They've got a man down. He's dead. And everyone, they do stare at this for a second. Deku climbing to his feet and turning to Marcy, who currently does go grab one of the weapons and make her way into the hallway. And Deku, he does get a bit angry. Right now, him feeling like he's going to burst. And this, it doesn't feel good. There's a lot going through his head. And losing a fellow soldier. No, fuck that. Losing a friend. Someone who's been through this shit with him. Someone who's seen the fucked up things these people have done to them. It messes with him something fierce. And right now, Deku, he does take the lead. Right now, him telling everybody to stay behind him, since this isn't up for a vote. Now, everyone, they just stare at Deku. Right now, him turning back as his suit does have another sound tear into it. Currently, him going to move down the corridor and talk about a few things. People following the massive man. And Deku, he does go to make his way through the corridor and up a staircase. Right now, him coming to a level and going to stop. Before he has a turn and look to get Chloe, asking if she has seen anything. Her quickly running past as she's going to bend down. Right now, her going to disappear from view. Before she has a turn and walk around the corner. Right now, trying to find out what exactly Deku means. And she does begin her own little mission. Her going to move down the corridor and try not to be heard. Be light on her feet. Make sure no one knows she's here. And this does mean quite a bit. Currently making way down the corridor. And Chloe, she does try to find something that could be useful. All they know right now is that everyone were all hands on deck because the experiments, they might have been, well, exterminated. And that it does mean quite a lot. The scientists were up in a frenzy, and the security guards, they were trying to get as much stuff as they could from the armory. And Chloe, there's a turn expressing with an all clear that no one else is here. Deku round the corner and beginning to move. Rhino them trying to get out. And there currently is where somebody, they felt like something was wrong. They do stand in the guard station. They do stand at the monitoring station of the cell Deku and his friends should be in. Though they do get to see that the explosive collar is gone. Going to turn and radio in about how their experiments have escaped. And this does get to be followed by an alarm beginning to blare. As a soldier, they do get ready. One of them going to turn and going to walk over to a suit of power armor. Before they do, going to step forwards and climb inside. Them turning and knowing exactly where these things might be heading to. They're heading up, so he should too. And this, it does help. Now, Deku, him and his friends do try to move around, maneuvering around the base and figuring out where to go. It's a bit tricky, but they were able to do it. And there currently is where someone, they do go to stand there. Currently a door being blown off its hinges as Deku, he does just step out and see a few things. A man standing there in a sort of Exo 1 power armor that does have the enclave paint on it. A fully black suit. Him looking up and seeing these creatures. 5 of them. There should be 6. Well, they won't complain. Or at least they can get one of the cadavers and research it further. Them expressing to Izuku, bringing up a weapon, telling him to stand down. And Deku, he doesn't listen. Rhino him staying there as he does, begin to get more aggressive, growing a little bit more in size. And people, they do begin to notice this. Before Deku, he has that turn and begin to rush forwards. Right now, John coming up behind him. Currently him with a larger green body. And the two, they do begin to start rushing at this man who does go to stand there. Bring up the Gauss rifle and go to fire. Right now him shooting Doki into Deku, and Deku does not feel this thing stab Doki into his shoulder. He doesn't feel the pain. Currently rushing forwards and bringing his claws up. Him going to slash out the power armor as there currently is Marcy, who does go to begin to flap her wings as it does shoot out of her back and begin to spread out fully. Right now her going to a full wingspan. And she has to bring her hands up, thinking about how good it feels to stretch them, about how weird it's been for them to be so confined. And she does go to suck in a deep breath before flapping them up and trying to get used to this. Her unaware as to how to maneuver up in the air. And there currently is Chloe, who does a turn, right now looking at Tommy, talking about how they need to find the exit. Well, they handle that. They're the distraction. They are the escape team. Okay? Him nodding his head, turning and beginning to run around. He himself trying to use his wings to get up in the air, while she turns herself invisible. Now, currently we do have that suit of power armor, which Deku, he gets a slash across the chest as it does go to step backwards, bring up his right fist, and going to try and clock Deku across the face. Right on him a bit more with restraint, knowing that these experiments are important to the doctors. And Deku, whenever he is sucker punched by this power armor, he does get sent flying backwards, him smashing on the ground with his tail between his legs. Now, Deku, here's a turn, getting back up as he does get a turn and face the behemoth, it rushing forwards and trying to smash down at him. Though the member of the enclave, they do to move their power armor backwards, bring their left hand up and punching this lesser behemoth in the face, before bringing their hands up and throwing the behemoth over them, right now chucking them across the room as it does get sent flying, them turning back and seeing Deku, who does begin to get onto his feet as they are rushed over. Right now them going to bring their hand down and grab Deku by the tail, before going to smash down with one of the feet of the suit of power armor onto his leg and beginning to pull, before expressing to him about how the little experiments should know when to stop. Now, the man is beginning to pull as there is Marcy, who does go to suck in her breath and then go to let out a massive scream. Right on the person turning as they're hit by this force. It also hitting Deku and sending the person flying, smashing the ground, skidding across it before they turn and try to get back up. Marcy going to try and fly forwards the person as I turn and reach for their rifle. Them bring it back over and firing Deku at her. Deku watching as it'll fly through the air and clip her wing. Her screaming out before falling and smashing to the ground. Currently, John going to turn and begin to rush back forwards. The man turning and reloading before firing out at John and hitting him directly in the shoulder. Him being hurt while still rushing forwards, bringing up his massive arm. The man reloading quickly and firing down on one of John's legs. It hitting him in the leg before he does go to fall forward. Right now him falling on one knee. Him turning and taking a swipe to get his helmet and slash into it. Right now him tearing a piece of it out as he does a slash out with his right hand and Doki cut in the man's power armor again. The man bringing the gun down and trying to aim at Deku. And Deku, he does go to grab the man's gun as it is on fire. It hitting him across the shoulder and taking out a part of it. Before Deku, he's a scream out in pain a little bit more feral. This time, him growing a bit more in size and sending a punch out at the man, which does gonna break his torso and send him flying. Him going to head across the room as Deku, he is falling forwards. Right now, him not feeling like himself. And people, they do begin to notice this. Right now, the team, they found an exit. And Tommy, he didn't wait. He took off out into the wasteland. He liked to take his chances. And after seeing that thing, he knew they didn't have a lot of time. They've tripped monitors. They've tripped sensors. If he set up a base out here in the wasteland, that's what he'd do. If there are people out there, then that's what he would do. And right now, he doesn't abandon his team. And there actually is Chloe, who has a turn, watching as Marcy is injured, watching as Deku right now to sit there with his hands on the ground. And his suit, it begins to tear further and further and further. Before Deku, he does go to begin to mutate, his arms bulking up more in muscle, his body growing larger and his face turning more and more into that of oh dear God. Around Deku, he does a scream out, right on the person sitting up and seeing this death claw, seeing this fucking thing that can't be human. And Deku, he's rushing towards this thing. Them going to grab out of Deku's arm whenever Deku tries to throw his arm down with a fist. Him smash him in the torso for the person to bring their arms up and go to begin to squeeze down the Deathclaw's wrist. Them breaking Deku's fingers and his wrist. Reno squeezing down with the mechanical gloves. And the person, they do to watch as Deku does a bring his head down and Doki smash his teeth into their skull. Right now him breaking into the helmet and being a squeeze. Since this juice box needs to be emptied. Now, everyone, they were watching this. Right now Deku going to crunch into the suit and go to feel something in his teeth beginning to squish. And there was with the hands of that suit cease the mechanical movement. Though everyone, they weren't too happy. They were scared. There was John. He was injured. He can still move though, right? I mean, his leg is healing. Marcy turning. Right now her running over to the door. currently her with one of her wings still injured, telling them about how whatever the hell happened to him, it's bad. They've got to go too. They can come back for him. They can find him. But she's not even sure if he's still in there. And this, it does concern Chloe. She doesn't want to do it. But after all the shit they've been through, it's, well, they can't carry John, and Deku might turn their sights on, he might turn his sights on them, and Deku going to turn. Run him staring at everybody as Chloe goes to turn invisible. And Marcy's a turn and stare at Deku before she's a suck in her breath and get ready. It tears her throat up something fierce. It hurts. But she can do it. Let her scream and send this thing flying. And then whenever her wings heal, get out of here. No, get as far as she can out there and run. And Deku, he does go to rush at them. Reno him going to watch as Marcy just a suck in a scream and gonna let it out. Her breath gonna shoot through the area and try to attack Deku. And Deku, he does immediately get a turn. Him gonna dodge the attack as he gonna smash through the barricade that they try to create. Right now him punching through the rest of the enclave barrier as he does go to rush out looking in to the wasteland desert. And they just stare at that. There's one thing going through Deku's head right now. Out there. Place. Home. Find home. Find place. No place. Like, no, wrong. Something wrong. Place wrong. Area wrong. And this, it does confuse him. The wild nature and rational training, it is conflicting. These things are at war inside the predatory mind of the animal that was once human. And right now it does go rushing out into the wasteland. And everything else does escape. The scientists were not happy. They had one subject be killed on the spot in their cell. They can dissect it. However, the hot plasma still burning in their body, yeah, when it does cool, they're going to need to talk to that person. They wanted these things taken alive. Though, they're also concerned about a number of things. Since somebody in a suit of power armor was murdered by one of these things, and it didn't act alone. So, if that is the case, they need to figure out how and why. There should not have been the possibility. They were barely getting anywhere with their research. Things weren't done yet. They may need to start over. And that will definitely put some pressure on them. They still have some other subjects, but pulling them out of cold storage would not be good. Though this would give them this would give them some time to examine what they have, find out exactly what's going on. And currently, we do have Deku. Somewhere out in the Mojave Desert, this creature, it hid. It was trying to think about what to do, where to go, a place to be. However, there is that one little inkling of humanity. And Deku, he does get to find himself there. He's distant, but he feels human. And the creature, it doesn't look up at the moon. It's staring up at this thing it's never seen before. This thing it's only ever seen in books and pictures. It's bigger. This being the thing that is going to emanate through the Deathclaw's mouth. And currently it does get a turn. Right now, beginning to make its way through the desert. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.